Hello, fellow risk takers, and welcome to my worst investment ever. Stories of loss to keep you winning. In our community, we know that to win in investing, you must take risk, but to win big, you've got to reduce it. Join our community to claim your podcast listener discount on my Valuation Masterclass Boot Camp, where students learn how to value companies like a pro and advance their career. Go to myworstinvestmentever.com right now to join the community for free. Fellow risk takers, this is your worst podcast host, Andrew Stotz from A Stotz Academy, and I'm here with featured guest Jimmy Lee. Jimmy, are you ready to rock?
Oh yeah, man. Let's do this.
I am really excited to get to hear a little bit of what you're doing and your story, and you're gonna win the prize for the clearest, simplest, straight to the point bio. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to Jimmy Lee. He is a venture builder and humanitarian. Believe in yourself, and you can make the impossible possible. Jimmy, take a minute and fill in further tidbits about your life.
All right, Andrew. Thank you so much for the introduction. So my name is Jimmy Lee. So I'm a venture builder, and I've always been an entrepreneur since I graduated in law. So that was in 2002. So I have been an entrepreneur and also a venture builder for 19 years. I have 4 startups by far, and I've mentored about over 50 other startups as well. So my primary focus right now is basically to change the world through entrepreneurship. And through this podcast, I'm also hopefully I can inspire readers to reach for their dreams and not be afraid.
That's beautiful. And that, I have to ask you, make the impossible possible. What does that mean to you?
What it means to me, simple is this, because sometimes we come to a cross in our lives whereby we are afraid to take the plunge, all right? Afraid to take that step, afraid to make that commitment, afraid to assume the risk, that will sort of give you some form of a platform to success. And you're not sure you can do it. You have that doubts, can I do it? Do I have the financial resources? I mean, if everything goes against me, like right now we're living in this pandemic called COVID-19, a lot of people are going through a lot of challenges. In Malaysia, especially, people lost their jobs, and the cases of people killing themselves, suicides are quite high. So the thing is this, is that when you face such challenges, do you give up or do you strive forward? So I'm a firm believer that if you have a firm belief in yourself and you know what you want to do, you should go for it, and things will come into place eventually. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, that's inspiring. And now it's time to share your worst investment ever. And since no one goes into their worst investment thinking it will be, tell us a bit about the circumstance leading up to it, and then tell us your story.
All right, thanks, Andrew. Okay, my story starts way back in 2002. I graduated in law, and I thought I was going to be a lawyer, as I always thought that law profession is the right one for me. But unfortunately, I went to work for a law firm. I discovered a lot of things I didn't like about being a lawyer. One of the things is the fact that you're at the mercy at the service of your client. So I didn't really like that. So basically, a lawyer means that you have to bend the rules sometimes to make sure your client's needs are met. So I wasn't totally comfortable with that, doing that actually, especially when it comes to like the criminal cases. So um, yeah, I got a law degree and I decided not to practice. And I was looking around and I was introduced to entrepreneurship by chance by working for a friend of mine. And I love it, the whole process, entrepreneurship, we have an idea, and then from the idea, you have a business plan, a vision, a purpose, and stuff like that. So I went headlong into entrepreneurship with no experience, no capital, no contacts, just a law graduate with just an idea. So my first startup in 2002 was a motion effects studio. So we're actually a creative agency. So we do like corporate videos, documentaries, music videos and stuff like that. We learned from scratch, Andrew. Just like there's no manual. We didn't go to university. We didn't go to college. I didn't even know how to work the camera. So it was just what we did was we went from the bottoms up. From the bottom, I was like an intern, and I was a production assistant. I was a production manager. So I was a producer. So it was like just learning on a job. You're just observing how people do it. Oh, okay. So that's how you do it. Oh, all right. Okay. Okay. Can you show me how to work these things out? So they showed me. So I learned from that. So it's just me and my business partner, Adeline, just 2 of us. We were operating from a bedroom, simple, no rental, and we're just going for projects. And I got to tell you, Andrew, it was so challenging because, who want to give projects to a law student, right? So yeah, so it was very challenging getting clients, but we just persevered, we just went forward. To cut the long story short, within 4 years, we grew the business into a multi-million business, all right? So, and then 2007 was a very great year for us because we got 2 huge projects. One was actually we were awarded the contract for the development for the Bank Negara Museum. It's actually the Central Bank of Malaysia's museum and art gallery. So it was a vigorous, crazy tender process. We were up against 60 other companies, and they were some of the most biggest agencies in the world, and we won, So it was huge, so we won the tender, and of course we also were engaged as a contractor for the celebration of the 50th anniversary of Malaysia. And it was celebrated at Stadium Merdeka Stadium. And our job was actually to project the first Prime Minister is no longer around, so we holographically projected him on the stage. So it was like a 10-feet holographic projection of the first Prime Minister of Malaysia. So it was a huge time, 2007. And on paper, at least, I was a millionaire based upon the project that we secured. So I was happy. I became a millionaire before I turned 30 years old, 29 years old. I got all those projects, on paper. I was like, wow, there's a million here, there's a million here. So it was like really happy time, Andrew. The following year, everything fell apart, all right? How it fell apart was quite simple because there's a few projects I was working on, and it was a partnership. There was 3 companies, right? Mine was one of it, there's 2 other companies. So I was called for a secret meeting with one of the companies, and I was told not to inform the other company. So it was like a secret meeting between 2 companies. So it's a bit dodgy. So, I was like, what's going on here? I mean, because we had never met like behind closed doors like this. So me and my partner went for the meeting because we were curious about what's going to be discussed about, So we sat down in the meeting with the partner of ours. There's about 2 of them, and they made an offer to us basically. I mean, the whole project has grown from 1 million plus to about 4.5 million ringgit Malaysia. So they were planning to remove the 3rd partner from the project. I mean, the whole reason of doing so is so that we have a bigger share of the pie, you see. So it's just a simple thing, okay, 4.5 million divided by 3 partners, about 1.5, So there's the 2 of us, if you divide it between the 2 of us, it becomes 2.25 million ringgit Malaysia. So it was like an offer on the table, right? All we need is a support, and you just need to sign this termination letter, and we can get that additional money to your bank account immediately. I was like stunned, Andrew. I was like, wow, okay, I was stunned. I was surprised at the offer. So I looked at my business partner, my partner, the same company, and she looked back at me, and then we had an understanding without even discussing it. So we turned down the proposal. All right, we said no. We said that this is unethical, and I said that 3 companies went in for the tender. We worked really hard for it. We were awarded, and then by right, all 3 companies should be rewarded, and we should complete the project to the very end. And I told the other company, and it's like, I mean, if you want to work with us exclusively for the next project, more than happy to do so. So basically, then they just said, "Is that your final answer?" And I said, "Yeah, that's just not the way we do things, man." And I said, "Yeah, okay, all right." So, a week after that, Andrew, I got terminated from the project.
You got cut out.
I got cut out. My company got cut out. I got a fax from the company. My company was terminated from the project with immediate effect. All my payments that I'm supposed to receive have been withheld pending due diligence, whatnot, and everything like that. And then my client was furious. Was like, what the F you, what the effing going on, what's going on, and blah, blah, So yeah, it was a terrible time because we lost everything overnight because we focused on that one huge project for the past few months. So a lot of resources went to it, So because we wanted to complete it early. So when you complete early, you get the money a bit earlier, the payment apply. So then we just lost the whole project, just like that overnight, And I remembered that we were trying to get the client to try to separate the contract, like just divide the contract into 2, something for the 2 partners, the one for my company to be awarded direct to my company. And I remember I called my parents, my partner was calling her parents, trying to borrow money as fast as possible to set up, to make sure we have the funds to continue for the next few months, you see, just to continue the project to see whether the client will award the project to us. So we took on massive loans, and we hired people, try to like just do things on our own and stuff like that. 6 months down the road, client decided, not our problem, So yeah, so if you're not getting paid, then it's not really a problem. So that was it, you know.
Mm.
My millions down the drain. I was heavy in debts, you know, I was hard in debts. My landlord actually took an action against me, legal action, to evict me from the office because I'm not paid rent for 6 months. So it was a horrible time, you know, it was a horrible time. I was in a very dark hole. I was trying to figure out how am I going to dig myself out from this hole, you know, because yeah, it was horrible, you know. You know, and there were times that I was living without food for a couple of days, and I was just trying to stretch, you know, like a loaf of bread, trying to stretch it for a few days. So, you know, it was a very terrible time, Andrew. Yeah, that was, I would say, the worst investment ever.
That qualifies.
Yeah, that qualifies because, you know, you went from possible millionaire, then you went to the pariah, you know, so it's like nobody wants to talk to you anymore. So yeah, but the good thing about the story is this. I mean, I remember very clearly what happened. A friend of mine arranged for a meeting between me and this friend of his, you know, it's like a business associate, and he said that, hey, he's doing social marketing, digital marketing, you know, why don't you meet up with him, you know, maybe you can talk things out, maybe you can get some projects going, you know. And I said, yeah, why not, right? So I was about to meet up with him. Then the High Court actually sent officers to my office, and they actually locked up the entire office. Yeah. A couple of guys come over, and they told my staff, don't touch anything, you know, just take your bags. We're going to make an inventory of everything in your office, and we're going to seal the office. I was like, wow, okay. Woo, yep. Rough, man, really rough. That's horrible. So you can imagine my mind was like not in the right place. I was depressed. I was feeling stressed out and everything like that. And I got this meeting with this guy in Starbucks, you know, and I was like contemplating, maybe I should just not see the guy. You know, it's like I'm just not in the right, I'm not in the right frame of mind to talk to anyone, you know. But I forced myself to go to the meeting because I felt, okay, you know, yeah, you had that setback, you know, why don't you go see him? Maybe it's a business opportunity, right? So we just try. So I went for the meeting. So it was at Starbucks, and basically we sat down, shook hands and everything like that, we introduced ourselves. And the first question he asked was that, how is your business going on, Jimmy? I was like,
it's a little locked up right now.
Yeah, how do you even answer that question, right? So, you know, it's like, immediately in my mind, there was like two things going on, right? Okay, should I just lie to him, tell him that, wow, you know, we got this massive project, and then you know, we're doing great, you know, we have all these things going on and everything like that, but that's a bit of a lie. Or should I just be honest and just tell him exactly what happened to me and my business, you know, and everything like that? And remember, Andrew, by being honest is the reason why I was in this mess in the first place, you know. Yeah, right, you know. So do I really want to go down the same path again, you know, and screw up things, right? So I didn't really know what gotten over me. So I just decided, I think I'm just going to tell him the truth. So I told him the same exact thing that I told you just now. You know, we started Motion FX Studio. We have these two massive projects. Then we got betrayed by a business partner. We just lost everything. You know, I just told him my offices are locked up by the court day, you know, and I have about less than 10 ringgit in my pocket, you know, while talking to you right now.
Yeah, so you'll be paying for coffee. And now that, you know, that's what you said to him.
Yeah. So basically, but the good thing about Starbucks is the fact that you pay for your own coffee. So, you know, so yeah, so I didn't order anything. So I was safe. So, so to be honest, Andrew, I was like, okay, I think this is going to be the shortest meeting when I have. I think this guy is going to say, you know what, Jim, you know, nice meeting you. Thanks for coming, you know, let's shake hands, you know, when things get better, why don't you get in touch with me, and then we can talk things better when you have your company up and running again. So I thought that was what's going to happen. So I was like about to clear my stuff up, and then he just said, okay, hold on, you know. I didn't say this meeting's over. And he just asked me, okay, so exactly how much are you looking for to clear your legal problems that you're having right now? So I told him, well, I need about 28,000, 29,000 ringgit, you know, within 2 weeks. If not, everything's going to be auctioned off by the court.
Right.
So he said, all right. And then he said the most weirdest thing, Andrew. He said, okay, I'm going to write down my address on your notebook and come over to my place, and about 8:30, let's talk things out. I might be able to help you. I'm like, whoa, okay, interesting, unexpected, of course, you know. So I left, you know. Then I met up with my business partner. I told her everything what happened, and she was very skeptical. She said that, why would he want to help you? You're just total strangers. I just met for 5 minutes. I said, I have no idea. He said, just meet up with him at 8:30, you know. Should we go? Should we not go? And then, you know, and then she decided to follow along because she said that, you know, I don't want you to make any deals with some loan sharks. And you might turn out to be a loan shark, whatever. You know? So yeah, so I went for the meeting with her. So we sat down. So basically we sat down with him, you know, and then I still remember very vividly going to his house. You know, it's a nice neighborhood. It's a very rich people neighborhood. You know, his house is actually like 3 stories down, and then he has like 2 sports car in the front. I say, okay, this guy is doing very well for himself. So okay, I don't think money is an issue for him. So I went to the dining room, sat down with him. Then he came over, and then he said, okay. Then he asked me again, you know, how much exactly do you need to sort out your legal issues? He mentioned about 29,000, is that correct? I said, yeah, 29,000. And I told him the whole amount is about 20,000, but we need 29 because apparently, according to the legal action, I have to pay the lawyers for my landlord as well. So that's how it goes. So he said, okay, I'm not going to help you with the 29,000 ringgit. I'm like, okay, you know. And guess what? I'm going to give you 40,000 ringgit. I'm like, what? You know, 40,000 ringgit, that's like 11,000 more than I need. So I asked him, what's the catch? Is this a loan? I mean, are you investing to my business? You know, what is it? You know, he said, I'm just going to give you the whole card, the whole cash, if you can solve a riddle. And that's it. And I said, no strings attached, no strings attached. Interesting. So I asked him, okay, what's the riddle? So he gave me the riddle, and then I asked him, is there any terms and conditions to this whole process that we are doing right now? He said, basically, there's nothing. I mean, you give me the answer, the right answer, I'll give you the cash. There's no time limit, but apparently you do have a time limit because you have 2 weeks to come up with the money, or else, you know, your property is going to be auctioned off. So I don't have a time limit, but apparently you do. So, you know, so I remember driving back from that meeting, and I was talking to my partner. She's like, I think this guy's bullshit. And, you know, I mean, who's going to give you that huge amount of money, you know? I mean, a total stranger at that, you know? And the thing is, you know, she said, over a riddle, you know, are you serious? You know, I don't think it's a genuine thing, you know? And I was like thinking to myself, Jimmy, should you do this? Should you not do this? Should you do it? Should you not, do you not do this? Stuff like that. So I decided, Andrew, let's do it. You got nothing to lose, right? You know, let's do it. You know, so the next 2 weeks, I try to figure out every kind of answer to that riddle, try to answer it, you know, just giving the answer as often as I can, you know, but all the answers are incorrect, wrong, stuff like that. So came a day, about 2 days before the deadline, I was stressed out because I was looking at the date. I was like, oh my God, I got only like 48 hours left, you know. So I was watching Astro, I was watching some cartoon, it's an animation movie. And yeah, I thought I saw the answer in the movie. It's just like a flash, you know, of some sort, you know, like, I'm like, wow, is that the answer? But the answer is simple, Andrew. It's not thought-provoking. It's not life-changing answer that I was been giving to that guy in Starbucks, you know. So it's a very simple answer, nothing complicated. So the next day, I had a meeting with a client. Then after the meeting, about 12 something, I text him the answer. This is 2008, so there's no WhatsApp yet, whatever. So it's just messaging. Yep. So I messaged him on my phone, my Nokia phone and everything, and just waited for the answer. And for the life of me, I just didn't understand because, you know, for the past almost 2 weeks, he answered me quite immediately, about less than 3 minutes. So I'll get an answer. But this one took about 22 minutes. I mean, I knew because I was looking at my watch. I was like, what is taking you so long? Why are you keeping me in suspense, you know? So after that long, very long 22 minutes, he finally replied and he said that, you know, he didn't say yes or no. He just said that meet me at Coffee Bean at 2:30. You know, I'm like, okay, something's going on. You know, so I was there early. I was there by 2 because I was really excited, and a lot of things was going through my mind. Is this guy serious? Is this happening? You know. Right. So then I saw him coming towards Coffee Bean. So I saw him, and Andrew, the thing that made me really happy was the fact that I saw there's actually a checkbook right behind his back pocket, you know. So I can see there's a checkbook. I was like, okay, there's a checkbook there. So this might actually come through. So he came by, he sat down. I didn't even bother to say hi to him. I just said, hey, bro, you know, is that the answer you're looking for? And then he said that, yeah, you got the right answer, you know, that's the one I was looking for. And he just sat down and he just wrote me a check, you know. He said that, you know what, I don't really know your full name. I just know it's Jimmy. So I'm just gonna make a cash check to you. So just make a cash check, cash and everything, 40,000 ringgit, he's signing everything. And he just, you know, took the check and just gave it to me. And I was like, wow, I was holding the check. I was like, what just happened here? So, and then he said to me this thing, and said, I was very lucky. I got to him in time because he said, he had a flight back to Singapore at about 5 p.m. that day itself. So he said if I was just a bit late, I wouldn't be able to get the money from him because he'll be in Singapore. So I called him just in time before he went to the airport, So he left. I was holding onto the check. I look at my watch. Okay, it's already 4 p.m. All the banks are closed. So I brought the check back, So I showed it to my business partner, and then she saw it, and then she said to me that, you know what, maybe he's going to cancel the check, I'm like, oh man, okay, that's another possibility. I didn't think, okay, she might cancel the check. Okay. So Andrew, the next day, early in the morning, because that's a day of the auction. Right. So about 8 a.m. in the morning, I call up my landlord. I said, okay, I got the money for you, but so just hold on to your auction. And he said that, you sure you got the money because you have not paid me for 6 months. And I said, yeah, I got your money, but just don't go ahead with the auction. Just give me about half an hour, I'll be there, I'll give you the money. So he said, okay, don't screw with me, because I'll make it very I'll make sure you have a terrible time if you screw with me any further. So I said, okay. I went to the bank. The bank's not even open yet, the shutters are closed. And I just waited, waited outside, all those things going in my mind. And can you imagine what's going on in my mind? It was the most craziest time, The shutters went up. I didn't even wait for the shutters to go. I just went underneath the shutters. I went straight to the counter. I gave the check to the lady at the counter. And then she said, okay, can I get your identification card, which is actually my card in Malaysia. I gave her my card. I gave the check and everything. I said, okay, so can you just sit down? So we'll process it for you. So I sat down. I was biting my nails or watching her like a hawk. It was like every single movement, I was watching everything, So I saw her, going through the check. She was like, I think she's picking stuff, checking through all the, make sure all the details are correct. And I saw her like typing something in the computer, and then she was checking the details and everything like that. And then she called the manager. And when she called the manager, I was like, shit.
This is where it falls apart.
Yeah, I think this is not happening, man. She called the manager. The manager came over. I looked at her. And then she pointed at me and he looked at me. And then he did that thing that I didn't really like. He just shook his head. I was like, all that, yeah. So he shook his head. And then, so I was like, okay. And then the lady called me and I said, Mr. Jimmy, can you come to the counter 9? So I went to the counter and I was like, okay, And then she gave me back my card, my identification card. And she just asked me, okay, would you like it in 100 or 50s? Oh man, best feeling ever, dude.
And then you ran to get that money to the landlord.
Yeah. I said, okay. So basically, they had to prepare the apparently the payment goes to the court, so it has to be in a bank draft, so it cannot be in cash. So the 29,000 was in the bank draft, so the remaining balance was cash. So I make a run to my office and I get the bank draft, to my landlord. He was like shocked. Where did you get this money? I said, this. Oh yeah, well, you wouldn't believe me if I tell you the story. Just leave it at that. So the whatever balance, I called my business partner. We had KFC. After months of not really having proper food, we actually sat down. We had KFC. That's how we celebrated Andrew.
A fancy meal.
A fancy meal, 3-piece chicken, with some Pepsi. So that was our celebration meal, KFC. So whatever balance that I had, I decided to, okay, I paid off all my debts. Whatever I could pay, I paid off my debts and everything like that. But it wasn't enough, so eventually we had to fold up, we had to close the business, And then I never gave up entrepreneurship. I decided, okay, I failed not because of lack of effort or I did not have the vision. It worked. I was betrayed by a business partner. So I refused to give up. I still remember those times when I was in between closing my first startup and moving on to my second startup. I didn't have money because we paid a lot of people from the whatever balance we had left. And I remember going back to my mom, every once a week just to get some ingredients for cooking, like eggs and vegetables, a bit of rice, and then she'll give me a bit of money to make sure that, I don't, live without any form of cash, So that's how it was. But I remember my mom was like so worried about me. I said, Jimmy, you should just give up on entrepreneurship. Just start working somewhere, get a job.
Go get a job.
Go get a job. You have a law degree. What are you thinking? And once you're successful, you're up there again. You have your savings. You can start entrepreneurship again. But Andrew, I just refused to give up. I refused to just give in. So I just kept on. So my same business partner had this idea. She said that, I can cook, so, you have a car, so probably can have a food business going, I can cook and if we take orders, I can just deliver the food. This is way before Grab or whatever. This is way 2000, a long time ago. Yeah, 2011. We started this. My first food startup. So Yamalicious. That's how we started back in the business. We started Yamalicious. We started. She'll prepare the food. She'll cook the food. I'll deliver it. So we focus on burgers and stuff like that. So from there onwards, we started growing, and then now we have Foodie Box Group. Now we became venture builders, and I'm in the process of setting up my own venture fund soon enough, for technology. So that is my story.
Wow.
Of what happened.
And what happened to the guy?
I mean, I call him up, I thank him, and basically we started working together. I mean, he was trying to see what he could help to revive my first startup and stuff like that. But even he knew that, okay, I think it's a bit pointless. So he said, you know what, use whatever is left, rebuild back your life and start a second startup, But he just told me this: never ever give up, don't give up. Use whatever I have as seed for another project, And then he just left. That's it. So I keep in touch with him. So basically, I mean, I've actually prepared. I got a lawyer friend to prepare a contract whereby I wanted to pay him every month, like a certain amount of money. But he hasn't signed it. So so I'll just keep it in mind. But I do keep in touch with him. So I did tell him that once, I'll find a way to reward you somehow.
Well, there's so much to that. One of the things that I would say is that there have been times that people have done good things to me or for me, and they didn't ask for anything for it. And they either said to me, do something good for someone else, or it was just implied. And so I think, my takeaway from your story really is the idea that, people do help people sometimes out of the blue. And also, once somebody has helped you out of the blue, you have an obligation to pay that forward, and I think that's one of the things. I know there's been people that have helped me, and there's people that I've been able to help, and I think a lot of that just really comes down to help each other as best that we can. And also, the other thing that I've thought about a lot over the years is that I generally, I used to kind of loan money, but now I just figure, if you're going to give someone some money, it's probably better just to give them a little grant. It's better to just say, take this, go get through your trouble, and then because the whole lending thing just turns into a bit of a mess. So, so let me ask you, based upon what you learned from this story and what you continue to learn, what one action would you recommend our listeners take to avoid suffering the same fate? And I think I'm thinking about this situation of somebody's giving you an ethical choice. If you had just screwed the other partner, you would have been fine. Many people think that, right? And by saying no, I'm standing up for my own ethics, you hurt yourself, right? So I know a lot of the listeners are in these ethical dilemmas, and they need some guidance from you. So what one action would you recommend that they take to avoid suffering the same fate?
Well, the thing that I can take away from this whole experience is, one is the fact that I always be hopeful, but be prepared for the worst. All right, I think that's the best advice I can give. I mean, still explore opportunities. I mean, for me personally, I did not give up on partnerships. I still have partnerships. I still look for companies I can work with, because the takeaway from this whole experience is the fact that it has made me more experienced when it comes to business partners. So I can spot things early on if something's not going to go right and stuff like that. And I was a bit naive in my first circumstances, in the sense that I didn't really get a legal protection and didn't get lawyers to draft things out, because I trusted they'll do the right thing. So the takeaway is the fact that learn from whatever failures that you may have, and then basically be better, all right? And learn from it. And from that, you build something even more bigger. And I'm glad that I did not give up on partnerships. I'm glad I didn't give up on opportunities, because I'm still receiving them. I'm still giving them. And like what you said earlier, use this experience to pay it forward, which is why I'm a humanitarian as well. That's why I'm doing a lot of projects to help the needy, the refugees. I'm in support of various different fundraising programs and stuff like that. And then we have amazing programs that we're going to do soon, once the funding kicks in. So never give up hope, never give up opportunities, never, shut away from the experience and say, okay, I think I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it at all anymore. No, don't do that.
Yep.
Explore, be curious, but be prepared for the worst, and always be curious in the things that you want to do.
All right, last question. What's your number one goal for the next 12 months?
My number one goal for the next 12 months is basically to set up a venture fund, basically. We're in the midst of setting a venture fund in Southeast Asia. It would be in Singapore. And this venture fund basically looks for projects that is focused entirely on food, technology, and social enterprise. And we have amazing, amazing projects that line up. Just to give you an idea, what we're planning to do is the fact that we have a project lined up in Kenya. I'm not sure whether you're aware of this, but Kenya has some sort of like annual famine and drought. So they go through this every year. So we have a program lined up in the sense that we're going to provide seedlings to the farmers in Kenya so they can work on the farms using seedlings. And from the profit itself, we can have profit sharing itself. Yeah. So we save them from going through a famine and give them income and stuff like that. And it's a profit sharing kind of a business structure. So my venture fund will receive some form of income and revenue from there as well. So for the next 12 months, I've been very much focused on this venture fund to get it going and everything like that. And we have a lot of projects that we're looking into in like clean water. I recently started mentoring a startup from India called Adler Green Energy. So I'm really excited about it because they are aiming to produce the world's most affordable and most efficient water purifier at the cost of $10 per unit. All right. So just $10, you know. So I've seen it, I saw the prototype, and I think this is the answer to people in poor countries who have no access to clean water. And it doesn't require electricity, it doesn't require any form of support. It's just like a water bottle, but it does wonders, you know. And I've seen the results, how the water is purified, and it's just amazing. So my mind, because I did not give up on partnerships, I did not like shut myself away from opportunities. I keep on going forward, keep on looking for opportunities, keep on looking for business partners. And now I'm surrounded by all these amazing, amazing projects I'm working on. And that is, I'm having the best time of my life actually at the moment.
Fantastic. Well, listeners, there you have it, another story of loss to keep you winning. My number one goal for the next 12 months is to help you, my listener, reduce risk and increase return in your life. To achieve this, I've created our community at myworstinvestmentever.com. And when you go there and join, you'll get that special discount on my valuation masterclass boot camp. As we conclude, Jimmy, I want to thank you again for coming on the show. And on behalf of A Stotz Academy, I hereby award you alumni status for turning your worst investment ever into your best teaching moment. Do you have any parting words for the audience?
Thank you, Andrew, for this award. You know, I'm really grateful for it. My parting words to the audience is this: be bold, and mighty forces will come to your aid. All right, it's a quote from King Basil. It's something that I hold on to very dearly. And I hope by listening to my story that all of your listeners will be like inspired to do things that is out of the box. Don't be afraid, you know, because sometimes it's just an internal fear, you know. So be bold, and mighty forces will come to your aid. And I wish everyone great success.
Be bold, and mighty forces will come to your aid. That's a wrap on another great story to help us create, grow, and protect our wealth, fellow risk takers. This is your worst podcast host, Andrew Stotz, saying, I'll see you on the upside.